What's up, guys, and welcome to this episode of Tuesday Night Talks with Mick. I'm in a crowded parking lot again, and for whatever reason, I was sitting in the car before I did this, and I was like, this feels kind of awkward, like the first times that we were doing Facebook Lives, and it was just like awkward Facebook Live sessions with Mick. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Hold on, I gotta get the questions out. But I know I say this every week, but for those of you that may not know, I am the co-founder of 712 Media. We're a digital marketing agency based in Irvine, California. We focus on social media marketing, and every Tuesday night at 7 p.m., I try not to do them in a random place, but I'm meeting up with a friend in a little bit after this. But we talk social media marketing. We can also talk anything else, really, but those are primarily the questions that I'm getting right now. What's up, Raj? How you doing? Thanks for checking in. So this is a cool way for me to kind of answer your questions and at least give you my 2 cents on what you should be doing in terms of digital marketing, social media marketing, based on like your specific needs. It's really easy to talk like on a broad scale about like theory and things like that, but I think for each business, it's always going to be a little bit different. Like a pizza restaurant isn't necessarily going to do the same thing as a dental lab, so to speak. So the marketing, the marketing tactics are going to be different. With that being said, everybody that's checking in right now, please know that this is also a live Q&A. So if you have any questions that I can answer about social media marketing, content development, I don't know, anything like that, or even just, how to run a social media marketing company, feel free to ask below. One of the things that I'm really passionate about also that I haven't been talking about for the last couple months is personal branding. So I'm actually going to talk about that a little bit today, but I also want to answer some of your questions that we got yesterday. So Bruno, Mindy, thank you. Everybody on Snapchat, Instagram, thank you. I don't know where I wrote these down now, but that's all right. The other thing I want you guys to know too is next week and in the upcoming weeks, I'm also going to be conducting interviews. So really what I want to do is I want to sit down with Bardia, for example. I know that you have like a health supplement company, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd really like to sit down with you and talk about what are you doing to market? How did you get started? What are some of the tactics that you deploy to get new customers? MJ, I see that you're checking in too, so thank you very much. I'd actually love to talk about what a nursing facility is doing to market themselves and really be able to deliver value on in many different industries, because the bottom line is this: I have my theories. I see what has worked. I also have my ideas of what will work and, kind of what's tried and true, but I don't know everything, so I definitely want to figure that out with you guys. What's up, Melissa? Thanks for checking in again. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to get into some of the questions once I figure out which page this was on. I do remember a couple of them. One of the questions that came in yesterday was actually pretty interesting to me. The first question was, how do you figure out what your target demographic is, right? And I think that that's a very interesting question, because going into any sort of business, I kind of feel like you're going to know who your customer is one way or another. But if you are struggling to find out who is the most responsive to your product, your service, your restaurant, or whatever it is, I think the number one thing that you can actually do for yourself is you can look at your competitors. So this is going to be anybody in the same space as you. If you're a restaurant, not only like the same type of food, but the same type of food in the same location. So an easy way to do this on social media, for example, if I'm a pizza restaurant, then I'm actually going to want to look at the other pizza restaurants in the area, check out their followers, and check out, everybody loves pizza, so you can look up something like hashtag Newport Beach and find it out that way. If you're a health and wellness company, Raj, I know you're listening, look at the other people in the area. So if you're health and wellness, maybe Dr. Axe, Vital Proteins, that type of thing. Look at who's engaging with that company, look at who is commenting on their brand, and try to start extracting followers that way. I know I keep looking down again, like I write stuff down, which is weird because I'm always on my phone, but I still write stuff down. But that's a really nice way, again, looking at your competitors, finding out who's engaging with them and who they're targeting. That's an easy way to find out who your target demographic is. And also just think of whose problem you're solving. So as a marketing agency, obviously my target demographic is going to be business owners, is going to be CMOs, that type of thing. It's going to be anybody trying to start a personal brand or whatever it might be. So think of what problem am I solving? Who could use that type of thing? That's really how you start figuring that out. Simple question, but hopefully not one that finds it dumb. How do you develop a purpose and create value for people? I think That's such a broad question. I think the purpose part of anything is going to be up to you as a person. You know what I mean? What do you feel like your purpose is? Is your purpose to be the greatest mother? Never heard of Dr. Is your purpose to be the greatest mother? Is your purpose to be, the best marketer on the planet? You know what I mean? And if that's really what it is, if you want to be the greatest mother, then, you kind of study, spend time with your kids. You're delivering value to them. If you want to be the greatest marketer, then you got to study everything about that. Then you need to, kind of give your content, whether on Facebook Live. Maybe I want to be the greatest marketer. I don't really know. That's actually not my goal. But, you get on Facebook Live, you do it in written form, you do it in visual form. I don't think that's a dumb question at all, but I think that takes a lot more, self-awareness to understand, like, what do you want to do? What makes you happy? What can you see yourself doing 24/7, 365? And then once you're doing that, even if it's basketball, like, how do I produce content to show other people how to do it? If I wanted to be a great basketball player, which at one point I did, my mother didn't tell me I was going to stop growing it, in basically the 8th grade. But if I wanted to do that, then, at the time, this whole thing wasn't there, but now we can produce content on me practicing basketball, reviewing basketball shoes, giving comments on, or like doing commentary on like the latest playoff game, something like that. So there's a lot of different ways. But again, I think the number one thing you got to do when it comes to finding purpose is really about like what makes you happy, what drives you, what can you see yourself doing 24/7, 365 that doesn't feel like work. And I think that's what it really comes down to. I'm probably just going to ditch this thing in a second. Oh, I wrote it in blue. I was looking at black. So the second question I got was also from Bruno. Where can you find out where your customers are coming from, especially if you're running multiple campaigns? I think one of the easiest ways to do this is to set up, if you're driving traffic, and let's just say you're driving traffic to a landing page, create multiple landing pages and don't drive any other traffic there. And then you have your one Facebook ad, for example, that's just going to that one page, so you know where that traffic's coming from. That URL, that specific URL, doesn't have to be public. It's not something that's going to be on your main navigation menu or anything like that. So that's one way to track it. Also, Facebook offers a Facebook tracking pixel, which allows you to track different actions and different events. So, for example, on a checkout page, you can put the pixel on the thank you page, so that you know that an ad led to a sale because it went to that thank you page after somebody made a purchase or submitted their email address, anything like that. So that's a really easy way to do it. One thing that we do is we create a specific URL, because we actually do a lot of print advertisement too, and we want to know, is the print actually working? So we create a specific URL based only for, a specific URL that's only used on that print advertisement. And then, in Google Analytics, you can actually see the other URLs that are being used for it. And we know, hey, this print campaign actually generated some traffic, and that landing page, for example, created new leads, whatever it is. So you can do something like that. Barbara, thank you very much for checking in. Kayla, how you doing? Again, thank you all so much for joining in. I do this every Tuesday night. We talk about social media marketing. We can really talk about anything else, personal branding, business building, whatever it is. I'd love to just have a conversation with you. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. If you want to throw in those questions, that'd be awesome. The New York Giants, Eggs Benedict, I'm all about that. So feel free to ask your questions live as we're doing this. The other question that we have here is finding the behavioral patterns of your target demographic. I think those are done a lot with focus groups, but for us, for example, we're marketing for other clients, right? So one thing that I've actually just started doing literally this week, if you look below, if you scroll down, don't log out of this because I'm enjoying talking to you guys, but as you scroll down, you can actually see in an interview that I did with Sophia, and we're actually just studying what her behaviors are on social media, and a lot of it was based around retail. So now, we understand that a little bit. Again, that's only one person, so you're going to have to do this over and over and over again to really get a good idea of what are people doing on the internet, or what are people doing when they're buying a certain product. But again, I think that comes a lot down to research, doing focus groups, interviewing people one-on-one. So, that's a really, I don't want to say it's a broad question to cop out, but to be honest with you, discovering behavioral patterns are tough. I think that's something that you have to do over, it's a large group of people. Facebook does offer you, at least for in terms of social media behaviors, Facebook does offer you some information, like when are people most engaging with your content, when are people the most active at a certain restaurant. Google Analytics also says like at restaurants, like it's the most busy at this time. So at like noon, let's say, so now I would want to deploy an ad around 11 o'clock that says, are you hungry? Stop by Wingnuts or whatever it is. At that time to grab people's attention right before lunchtime. So there are resources like Google Analytics, Google Places, as well as like on Facebook Insights, you can check out a lot about when people are engaging with content. Amtris Lewis, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but Amtris Lewis says, how do you build relationships through social media? It's kind of like this. We're talking right now, and I think the first thing to do is to like somebody else first. So in this particular situation, Amtris, is what I was doing is like, I'm in digital marketing. I have a motivational aspect to me as well. So one of the people that I resonate very much with is Gary Vaynerchuk. So I literally looked at hashtag Ask Gary V, and I started answering all the questions that I kind of knew, because like Gary would say that. And I literally say in a lot of the responses, like Gary would probably say something like this. And after that, like I checked, we jammed a little bit. You tweeted at me, I tweeted at you, but I think it starts with a like, which by the way, I don't think it starts with a DM, but the first thing comes with delivering good content. I know that you just started your YouTube channel, and thank you for the shout out. You just started your YouTube channel. Now you can kind of like, start promoting that on your Instagram or whatever it is, but go to the people that you want to be associated with. So again, for me, it's fans of Gary Vee. I would love to be associated with those people, and I start commenting back on what they're saying in his comments, and hopefully that builds a relationship. Sometimes it's just a quick ask. Some of my best friends have actually come from the internet. Hannah, who's our copywriter, I talk about this every week. Hannah, who's our copywriter, it started with a tweet. She ended up working with us after vetting us a little bit, and then we started talking a little bit more after that. I think now it's much, much easier to develop relationships over social media than it was before, and it's not as taboo. Betty, how you doing? I'm missing New York. I had some pizza, and I can't wait to come out and see you again. I'm hoping sometime at the end of May, but we'll see. So I think that's the first way that you start developing relationships over social media. But in addition to that, the thing is, it has to come from the right place. Like, as much as people might follow me or engage with my content, and I do, like, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't want more followers or anything like that, but it's like, I'm also not going to just follow somebody for the sake of following somebody. Like, it has to be somebody I truly want to, build a relationship with, right? So, for example, like, I'm going to engage in a conversation if I see that they were, that they had a great slice of pizza, or I'm going to engage in a conversation that has to do with Star Wars or Eggs Benedict, something that I actually care about, as opposed to just like going for numbers. As much as like, yeah, I would love to, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, depth versus width and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, dude, everybody wants to be a little insta-famous, I think, if you're in MySpace anyway. MySpace, no pun intended. But at the same time, it's like the quality of the relationships are always going to be far more important. So again, find people that you really want to be, that you do want to be, connected with, and just start tweeting them, start liking their post, give them a shout out or something like that. I am very interested in a lot of the people that I follow, if not all of them, and we get to have conversations like this, and something like this also I think is very powerful. Stephanie, how you doing? Thank you so much for checking in. It's been a long time. For everybody that is just checking in, my name is Mikhail, which you probably know from being on my Facebook page, co-founder of 712 Media, a digital marketing agency in Irvine, California. And every Tuesday night, I take a little time to answer some questions about social media marketing, content development. I want to talk about Eggs Benedict and Star Wars, so anybody that wants to start that conversation, that's fine. I also like to open this up for a live Q&A, so if you have any questions at all, anything under the sun, I would really love to have those conversations with you. I did get another question yesterday or last week from Mindy, who also owns the Union Ride over in Costa Mesa, Newport Beach by the John Wayne Airport, if you're around this area. So Union Ride, for example, thank you, I appreciate it. I like my Eggs Benedict post too. So Union Ride is a lot like, and I hate to say it, like actually you used to be Bike to the Beat, but Union Ride's actually a lot like Soul Cycle, but they don't use weights. Basically, you go into a room, it's like a nightclub, but you're doing cardio, you're listening to great music, it's a great community, and I just started doing this with with Savannah, who's on the 712 team, and Carly, who's on the 712 team, and some of their friends. And it's been an incredible experience. So Mindy, thank you so much. She has a great offer, actually. Yeah, it's right by your gym. She has a great offer, actually, where your first 2 rides are for free. By the way, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just all about this class. So your first 2 rides are for free. Go to unionryde.com, and it's ride, RYDE.com. You can register, get your first 2 rides for free, and you get to experience something really awesome. And I have such a great time with it. Have I discovered SoCal's best Eggs Benedict yet? Stephanie, thank you so much for asking. Yes, so far. And so far, I think that that the best Eggs Benedict in Orange County actually is going to go to either Snoozes, and I just had an Eggs Benny at the Water Grill on Christmas. It was a Crab's Eggs Benedict. How you doing, man? It was a Crab's Eggs Benedict, and it was solid. A little spendy, but really good if you want to check it out. Dr. Hornbreck, it's been so long. I hope you're doing well. But anyways, Mindy, the owner of the Union Ride, and everybody, if you are here, say congratulations. She just had a child, and I'm super pumped, and I'm excited that you had a healthy baby. I'm surprised that it didn't come out on a spin bike already, but whatever. But she actually asked a really good question. I like this question a lot. She asked, how do you manage sticking to the brand of your company and your personal brand, but do you think it's all right to stick your face in there sometimes? So this is fun for me because this is fun for me because, as you guys know, 712 is a big part of my heart. Been running 712 with Drew for the last 4 years, 3.5, 4 years, and a lot. My face comes out a lot. There's my personal Instagram. There's obviously Facebook Live that comes out. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in the beginning, it was a lot of Mikhail on there on 712's pages. It was a lot of the 3-minute Thursdays. I don't know if you remember that. With videos that came out, and it had my face, it had Savannah's face, and then we were doing the live sessions on Periscope back in the day. But there came a point where I didn't want people to work with 712 because of me. And it's gonna happen, I'm here, right? But I didn't want them to just work with 712 because of me. For one, because it's not even me doing most of the work anymore. It's I have an incredible team. We're really blessed to work with talented designers, account managers, and really great thinkers that can really impact any brand. So I actually made a conscious effort, if you go to 712media.com, to actually take my face off of the front of the website. And for a long time, I also didn't want to be on the videos as well, that were going out. I didn't want to be writing everything that was coming out as well, but we're in this weird limbo where we're doing stuff with clients, doing client work as well as trying to market ourselves as well. So it's a time thing that kind of comes there. Thank you very much, Kayla. But I didn't want them to buy just me anymore. So what I started doing was I started putting content on my personal stuff, obviously, not just based around social media. I mean, yes, for the last 2 weeks or 2 months I've been doing that, but before it, there's other parts of my heart that don't come out. There's the motivational side, there's the spiritual side, there's the self-awareness, and all these things that I'm very passionate about, and finding your happiness and all that. You can find that on my Instagram. I drop the 712 name so often because I want to pull my audience and remind them yo, even though I am this person, I also have this other side to me, this business that I'm trying to promote as well. Now, as far as sticking your face into Union Ride, let's just say, that really comes down to your personal goals. You know what I mean? I think that what is more important than just putting your face on there, because you're obviously very involved, and I think that a lot of people are going to end up being customers of yours and subscribers of yours because they like you as a person. Because at the end of the day, there's 100 other people that are doing the whole bike to the beat, soul cycle type of thing. You know what I mean? And so what's going to differentiate you? There's the culture, maybe it's the soundtrack, maybe it's the equipment, maybe it's the location, but a lot of times it's going to come down to, do they like the people? Do they like the culture? Is that something that's going to sell them? So yeah, stick your face in there, humanize your brand, but even more important than just putting your face in there, now we got to get the story of Cassie, for example. I know Cassie very well. I've gone to 4 or 5 of her classes. So let's get the story of Cassie on there if she's down. Let's get the story of, I know that there's another one. I can't think of all the names, but let's get everybody else involved. I think that humanizing your brand and bringing personality to it is very important, but it comes down to what your goals are. I think that it's better for me personally, and I can't speak for you because, again, I don't know your goals. For me personally, I think it's it's better to like, you know, Union Ride is its own thing. You know what I mean? Let's push that brand. But in addition to that, for my brand, I'm going to make Union Ride part of my brand. You know what I mean? Because then you're using all of it, and then yeah, stick your face in there every so often. I still do it with 712. For us, it's a little different. I'm getting very comfortable with Facebook Live. I'm getting very comfortable with video, with writing, and getting myself out there. Whereas some people on my team may not want to be on video, regardless of how talented they are. You know what I mean? So I kind of have to step up and do that because I completely believe in Facebook Live, humanizing brands and things like that. So, you know, again, comes down to your brand. I don't think it's a bad thing. Obviously, if every picture is like your selfie, there's something wrong. But for yours specifically, I actually believe for Union Brand, I think you're doing an excellent job of really promoting the culture of what you're doing in addition to promoting the other people. That's just my 2 cents on it. Of course, you know, you're going to do what you want to do. What about building your brand around your 9 to 5? Real quick, I just want to see what Megan was up to over here. I try to share my story and genuinely connect with people, build relationships, and put my heart and soul into my brand. You know what? I think that's a really good point that Megan brings up is putting your heart and soul into a brand, because I'm actually a big advocate of, you know, your brand is in a color scheme. My brand, yeah, sure, 712 is a part of it, and I hope that it's a part of it for a lifetime, but at the end of the day, that does not define me. My work doesn't define me. You know what I mean? It's, you know, it's what I decide that I want to do for the people around me, and right now you guys are my community, so talking to you guys is amazing, and this is what I want to do, so hopefully that's more of a part of my brand than a logo. Thank you so much, Megan. Thank you so much, Melissa. Amtress asks, what about building your brand around your 9 to 5? It's tough. It's tough, but I think that you can still do it. Look, I think what a lot of people get confused is like, oh, a brand has to be something like, you know, you have to be a travel blogger. And I apologize if I'm getting your question completely wrong, but like people are like, oh, I have to be a travel blogger, or I have to be, you know, I have to be some sort of entrepreneur. I have to be, you know, whatever it is to have a personal brand. That's actually completely, like, in my opinion, completely wrong. Your brand is just what people say about you when you're not around. Now you just got to decide, what do you want people to say about you? Do you want them to say that you're the world's best accountant? Because that's kind of cool. You can build a brand around that. Do you want people to say that you're the world's best mother? Do you want people to say that you're a great soccer player? Like, that's really what it is. And if it's something that you love, and I'm such a big fan of like promoting, like, you know, if you're going to build a brand, don't do it for a certain type of demo. Don't do it for followers. Don't do it for, you know, to monetize it immediately. Do it just because, you know, just because you like to do it. That's the easiest way to do it, and that's the only way that it's going to sustain over a long period of time, because look, it takes putting out content every single day. It takes putting out, you know, connecting with people every single day, going down in the DM, checking out other hashtags, putting out a YouTube channel, being able to like do the work that you have to do, then right before you're meeting up with somebody for Taco Tuesday, putting out a Facebook Live. It takes a lot of that, and the only way you're ever going to be able to do that is if you truly love what you're doing. So that's kind of what I would say about that. And I think that's basically it. How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. No, you're not interrupting anything. I decided to do this in a parking lot. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me again. Like, I love hanging out with you guys on Tuesday nights. Next Tuesday, I'm trying to interview somebody. So nobody's like confirmed yet. I have a lot of people that are kind of like, you know, maybe I'll do it, or, you know, appointments that haven't been set yet. So next Tuesday, 7 p.m., if you're in Orange County, that would be the easiest. I would love to interview you on this. If not, there's also some programs that we can use to do a broadcast, but this is a lot more fun, and I think that we can both get a lot of value out of it. So if you have any questions for next week, please leave your comments below. If you decide that you want to be interviewed next week, let's do that. Leave the comment below. But again, thank you so much for checking in. I really appreciate it, and until next week, I will see you later.